romance, that's what we're talking about. I read the last book in one of my favorite contemporary romance series, On Dublin Street by Samantha Young, Moonlight on Nightingale Way, which granted, the story here is many romance tropes rolled up into one. He moves in next door, he's always bringing girls home and keeping her awake with the sound of his one-night stands. And then his life changes with an unexpected life addition. Okay, not the most original or well-executed plot in this series, but still, this series is just, and I am going to miss it. And you should start at the beginning of the series and read the whole thing. So, begrudgingly, I moved on from On Dublin Street and tried Samantha Young's new book that just released this year, Hero. This is her attempt at the young billionaire tortured soul thing, you know, think 50 Shades of Grey. I've read this storyline a lot, and I can be a sucker for it just as much as anyone else, but there's this delicate balance you have to maintain as an author with this sort of storyline. In this case, she leans way too hard on the assholery and also imbues her female lead with an almost Teflon belief that I can change him. It just tips the whole thing over the edge to the point that I want to tape signs to both of these characters' foreheads that say, if found in the real world, do not date. Alright, continuing on in my ridiculous titles project, I read Secret Agent Secretary, which is about a secretary for a secret government agency who, well, spoiler alert, ends up embroiled in an actual mission. There was plenty of ridiculousness to go with this title. There's plenty of wide-eyed, oh, all I wanted in life is to help take down a bad guy, and now my dream is coming true. Golly gee! But this wasn't horrible, actually. I read much worse. Continuing on the theme of governmental badasses, sort of, we have The Unsung Hero by Suzanne Brockman. This is about a Navy SEAL who gets a bad head injury and is sent home to recover, but while there, swears he sees an international terrorist in his sleepy New England town. But everybody just thinks it's just the head injury talking. I love this book, and it's not for the aforementioned plot. That's a solid 3-star, fairly decent plot. No, I love it for a subplot, perhaps one of the best subplots I have ever read. It is about these two teenagers, one who happens to be the main character's niece, and that's how this whole thing kind of ties in. He's a comic drawing nerd, and she is the inspiration and character model for his comic book's heroine. I don't know, it was lovely and sweet and very rainbow and parkish, and a really great exploration of the feelings of young love. It's almost as if Suzanne Brockman really wanted to write this story of young love, but her publisher was like, no, you write adult romantic suspense. So she came up with this perfectly decent romantic suspense plot just so she could write this gem of a subplot. Anyway, that's my secret theory. It's really worth reading for the subplot. Read it and tell me if I'm crazy for adoring an entire book just for the subplot. Strong and Sexy Sky High Air by Jill Chavez, part of my quest to read everything ever written by Jill Chavez. This is a series about these guys who own a private plane business, and in each book they end up flying some woman who's being chased by bad guys all around the world. I really didn't like the first book. The main female character was annoying, the plot was blah. This one is much better. The suspense mystery part was pretty corny, but I liked the main characters much better in this one. She's the daughter of this rich lady, but she's down to earth and brainy and not really socially comfortable in the hoity-toity environs of her mother's world, and she's a zookeeper at my local zoo. So yeah, I liked it pretty good. So I liked that one enough that I eagerly waited on hold for the third book, Superb and Sexy, which is the storyline that has been teased since book 1 about Brody and their always on-point concierge, Maddie. I have been looking forward to the storyline, and then it was executed with perhaps the silliest plot possible. There is identical twins involved, a diamond counterfeiting operation, and an evil uncle. It was disappointing. Then I read 2 of Jill Chavez's stories from the 90s set in the workplace, Who's the Boss and Her Perfect Stranger, and oh my god, the crazy thing is she really honestly seems to believe she's being progressive with how she was treating women at work, but with another 20 years of progress behind us, really not. Really not. I mean, half the plot could be the examples in a workplace harassment seminar on unbalanced power in relationships and quid pro quo and undue influence and so many things. It's really kind of horrifying. She certainly does not write things like this anymore. Her new stuff is good, but man, did people in the 90s really not know that this stuff was not okay? Not okay at all. Oh good lord. Okay, so any books from the past that you've read in the here and now and gone, what were they thinking?